What's going on, Solid Steppers? What's up, Tech the Titans? This Miss Ward coming to you. Right now, I'm headed out to Fort Walton to knock out a Whirlpool refrigerator. Have a seal system job. We'll be taking care of the evaporator and the compressor along with filter dryer. And I'm truly blessed. What I like to do, first of all, thank you for everyone that rocks with me. Thank you for all the people that subscribe to my channel and that follow me. I really appreciate it. I'm just simply trying to share some gems and some advice and some experiences I've had so that you can have a better one. And I'm not knocking my experience. I love everything about what I do and the experience. It forces me to stay mature. It forces me to continue to change and grow. And that's why I love the industry. So one of the biggest things that I'm going to be focusing on this year is learning how to use all the damn equipment I have. Yes, I am. And I mean, that goes from my Klein meters up to my field piece equipment to my Testo manifold that I barely use and I should be maximizing. I paid enough for it. But I'm sure we all have those kind of tools, right? That we do not use it to the max. But I like to brush upon a subject that is really bothering me because I constantly hear people, they ask me about certain things and certain things in the industry. And I want you to be very clear about your business. Understand your business and understand your avatar. And the reason why I want to talk about that is because I have been able to be profitable in this industry because I invested in training and I understand that I don't know everything. I understand that I have to stay on top of the game. Now, one thing that I'm going to stress here is that if you have a solid foundation, you should be good. As long as you stay on that foundation, meaning when you get into schematics and you understand that you need to understand where your positive, your grounds, and understand common and understand how these systems work and how to read schematics. And I mean, it's that serious because there are a lot of situations you will be on for hours. Come on, if you coming, like really. All right, happy Kwanzaa. Man, I keep forgetting where I'm at. Military, I ain't knocking it. Thank you for all your service. I love the military. Telling you, I keep eating because they keep breaking stuff. Love it. But anyway, getting back to the topic at hand, you gotta understand these skill sets and you gotta have your basics. If you're in refrigeration, you have to really understand how the systems work. You have to understand where your suction line is, your discharge line. You have to understand how Freon flows. As my original teacher taught me, Mr. Richard Zilka, shout out to TMM Academics, shout out to Brandon, that whole crew over there. At the end of the day, when you're dealing with refrigeration, it is a loop. It is a big loop. And you have to understand how Freon flows through that loop, what non-condensables are, how restrictions are developed, what to look for when you have a compressor that's overheating, what to expect when you have an evaporator that's leaking, whether there's going to get water in the line. I mean, how many times those of us that do seal systems, you work on an LG product or a Whirlpool, and that doggone line that goes into the drain pan that rusts out and leak every time, all that water gets in the system. Like, all this affects how you do business. And then people kill me how they get out here and want to do jobs and they don't want to change the filter dryer. Hey, I'm not knocking how you do it. If you want to do it, have recalls and half-ass, and I can't do stuff like that and sleep at night. When I first started doing seal systems, I was sweating all the time, waiting on that next day call, making sure that everything froze, that we put like a bottle of water in the freezer, or a cup of water and plastic in the freezer, and make sure that overnight it actually froze. Like those little things we do, because there are times when you're working on systems you're not familiar with, particularly when you're dealing with dual evap systems and you're new to the game and you're dealing with your LGs and Samsungs. Get ready for the loop, because it's going to throw you for a loop, because what you consider common sense in those areas doesn't always work, which is why I'm always telling people, get hands-on, go out here and mess up, go out here and fail and learn, because every time you fall, you should fall forward, not backwards, because now you know what not to do. Now you know what step not to skip. Now you understand the importance of vacuuming down the system properly. Now I know people, I hear talk to guys all the time. I ain't gonna say no names, but it's a lot of people that throw them together. They don't even put a vacuum on and they never get a call back. More power to you. More power to you. You want to live like that? Go ahead. I got my vacuum pumps. I have my recovery. I have everything I need, because for me, if I put my name on it and the way that I charge a premium, because I am bringing premium game to the table. I don't have time for the get over shortcut stuff, because that's just not how you can't stay in business like that. See, when everybody else is doing it, you the one that get the call to get the real bags, the consistent bags, you know? And you have to be willing to invest in that work. Like, share, and subscribe if you're getting something out of it, and send it to somebody who needs to hear this. Because at the end of the day, it's a lot of people out here trying to do the right, operative word, let me put that in quotations, trying to do the right thing with the limited knowledge they have. And they're frustrated, but what they don't understand is you keep calling all these people to help you, and a lot of these people you calling ain't really doing it by the book. I'm going to just keep it real. They'll tell you a shortcut in a minute, because in their mind, you're telling them one thing and they're visualizing something. They're not in that experience with you. And there's so many variables when it comes to appliance repairs, that what you're explaining may be 20 different scenarios to them. They're going to give you the best advice they can on the point at that time, and they could be working on something themselves. So at the end of the day, you have to become self-sufficient. You have to become self-sufficient, not only in the field. If you're a one-man show and you're looking for help outside as far as your back office, you know, the first person you're supposed to hire is a CSR. Because if you're running a business that you are getting business through converting calls to jobs, that is a whole different game. You know, you have some people who run businesses and their businesses aren't that way. They run specific, like me, I run my business basically off of institutional relationships, because that's the kind of business that I designed, because I didn't want to deal with the everyday COD call, even though I still get them. And most of those that I get, I actually refer them to people in my circle because I'm already booked. But I did that because when I started my business, I had calls all the time. And I had calls and I put systems in place. I had call systems where I made sure the calls got picked up a certain way, even if it was me. And because I'm versatile, that doesn't mean that was the best thing for my business. That was the best thing for my business at that time when I was starting. That's why I tell people, when people tell you can't do everything, you really cannot. You have to decide how you want to grow. You know, like I just missed a call this morning that was a $2,200 call. And it was an institutional call. It was an emergency call. But I'm one of those people that I believe what is for me is for me. But at the end of the day, you have to structure your business in a way that you can not only grow with the business, where you're not going to burn out in the business, but you're going to grow in a positive way. See, I'm one of those people, when I got into the game, I got in and I failed quick. I was about failing quick. I want to fail quick so I can get all the ugly stuff out the way. And I'm telling you, to the tune of several thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars. And the reason that was because I came in during the pandemic, and because of that, there were just different situations. There were some that were extremely advantageous for me. And I had no idea how advantageous it was until hindsight was 2020. But like I said, every time I had a problem, I looked for a solution. See, a lot of people keep having the same problem and they won't buckle down and get a solution. If you are the problem, then you need to solve it. You need to figure out what you need to do, what you need to get better at, or what do you need to put in place to replace your inability to get that particular part of the business done. And most people don't. They just keep causing bigger issues, and what they don't understand is a rippling effect. It's a rippling effect. This is why you have to stay on top of your business. You have to stay on top of your skill set. You have to stay on top of your clients. You know, I have great experiences with clients, and you know, a lot of times people request me and I'm booked. But that's not a brag. You know, the reality is I wish I had extensions of myself that were a little bit closer that I trust. I mean, I used to refer people all the time. Now I don't, because I was referring people and they were just screwing over the customers I gave them. So I was like, nah, we good. Anytime I got a customer call me back and said they're going to wait on me and I live 10 hours away because of an unexperienced, and these were people who money was not an issue. They just, it kills me how people will let their ignorance just mess up their bag, but that's a different conversation. This is why I don't refer. Like, I used to refer people all the time. Like, I just had somebody call me about coming to look at a Samsung washer in Fort Lauderdale. I referred them to one of my roundtable members because I'm not there. I'm in the Panhandle. It's nothing I can do, and it's really not. It's very few people that actually cover the beach in Fort Lauderdale that I actually refer people to. Most of the guys I deal with, they deal with in the Palm Beaches or a little further north, but it's money to be made everywhere, and people pay a premium because they know people still on vacation, man. These people is not ready for the new year. And this is why I'm telling you, everybody with a business who is getting a bag, they should have calls running. They should have had calls. I had calls on Christmas Day. Okay? Look here. I'm trying to tell you. And it wasn't that I was working those calls. I'm just telling you. You have to make decisions in your life, the kind of life you want to have, and then you got to and it ain't even a sacrifice. See, most of y'all think it's sacrificing, but you really ain't sacrificing, because the time gonna pass anyway. You can pass the time and have nothing to show for it, or you can pass the time and have lots to show for it. It's your choice. I see it all the time, and the older I get and the deeper I get in this game, the quieter I get. Because I have sit back and observed how many people, they just raggedy. They straight raggedy. They out here lying to folks. They out here, I just sat here and read where somebody was pumping up somebody to use someone for a service that I wouldn't recommend to my dog. But I'm gonna sit back and let that dog come to. I'm gonna wait on that one to blow up, because that's gonna blow up big, and it's gonna touch a lot of people. It ain't gonna touch me. Because I never referred anybody to this. Because I saw how people handled a couple of people and handled myself. No, you get no referrals from me. And anybody affiliated with them don't get referrals from me, because I done seen behind the curtain. And that's one thing y'all gonna learn about these businesses. A lot of the people in industries, they will have this big front and this flashy stuff going on. But behind the scenes, these are not people you want to deal with. I'm telling you, one thing about Miss Ward, I've been straight up from the day. If I don't like you, I don't like you. If you move shady, I'm watching you move shady. But one thing you're not gonna do is mess with me and mine. I'm gonna put you on notice day one. There's nothing you can do for me or anybody affiliated with me. I'm telling you, and the thing about it is that y'all ever been in a situation where you stay up in the cut, but everybody bring you the dirt, and you ain't even in the middle of it? They bring you the dirt that people do. Man, it's crazy. That's why you gotta be careful how you move. Careful how you move. There's a lot of people out here trying to build stuff, and you building it on sand. I'm telling you, you better pray about it, and you better listen real close, because I'm here to tell you, boy, a lot of us will be standing a lot longer than most. A lot of businesses will be dissolving in 2025. Half of them dissolved in 2024. Because people are not ready for the change. They're not keeping up with what they need to keep up with. They're not in the markets that are exploding. They're not making those steps or those choices. So it is what it is. Can't save everybody, but all you can do is save you. So like I said, y'all, stay on top of your game, watch how you move, and keep your stuff close to your chest. When I first started this channel, I used to tell everybody everything I was doing, because I wanted everybody to be exposed, see what I was doing, things of that nature, because I wanted everybody to be able to eat. And boy, I'm telling you, Now I keep my circle tight and I just stay to myself. Because when you really doing the work you need to do, to be honest with you, to be prepared and get prepared for what you need to prepare for in the future. Like prime example, when you're running a business and you are a first generation business owner, you get so caught up in the business, you forget about the fact that what about after the business? You know, people talk about retirement and all that type of stuff, and that's cute. But what about real investment? Like, you make this money, but where do you put this money for it to grow? Think about it. Where do you put the money to grow? Do you go buy land because they're not making anymore? And if you do go buy land, how do you know the right land to buy? How long do you hold it? Do you put your money in crypto? And if so, is it XRP? Or, you know what I'm saying? What are you doing? At the end of the day, and then financial instruments, do you really understand the value of your business? Do you understand what assets are? That yes, a home is an asset, real estate's an asset, but what about the other assets? Stocks, bonds, all those things can be collateral in your portfolio. But how do you do this and run your business and make sure this money is channeled where it needs to go? Where do you put your profit? How do you develop tax strategies? Like, business is not just fixing an appliance and collecting a payment and, you know, paying your vendors and taking care. Like, let me tell you something. Prime example. When I first got into the business, these folks keep sending me friend requests. Let me tell y'all something. I love y'all, but I'm going to be nice. I'm not going to say nothing. Let me just not say that. But getting back to what I was saying, when you get in business, like when I initially got in business, I got in during the demic. And since I got in during the demic, I had great deals on all the vehicles I leased and everything, because everybody was hiding and running, and I was going full blast right smack in the middle of it. I saw the opportunity. I wasn't scared of nothing. In fact, I never even got the demic situation. Never experienced it. Never caught it. I divinely protected. That's all I can say. And I'm going to leave that right there. But what I'm trying to explain to y'all is I went in, I had all my vehicles were the year that it was, 2020, 2019, 2020. All the stuff was brand new, high top vans filled with tools and equipment, because I was buying when other people wasn't buying, so everything was extremely reasonable, you know, and everything was to my advantage. So as my business continued to grow and explode, you know, you don't see any limit because you're in that. At the same time, because the growth was so massive and so quick, and the volume, because I came from a corporate environment where I managed hundreds of people, multiple locations. So when I was getting ready to do this, it was just normal for me to build it out that way. The problem is that I was dealing with people who didn't have a corporate mindset. Like, their brains didn't even function bigger than in front of their face. Because I always had a world and global view of how I move. Because you got to realize, I not only worked here in the States, but I worked in Japan, China. I've been all over the world. And, you know, I've been blessed. I've worked with startups. I just really been blessed, and I understand that. So it was very difficult for me to understand people who didn't see vision or didn't see opportunity. Like, I couldn't comprehend none of that. Like, my brain was like, what do you mean you don't understand? Like, people didn't understand pricing structure. And I'm not knocking anybody, because y'all got to understand, it was just of a shock to me as it was to people who dealt with me. Like, one of the most difficult things for me to get people to understand when I first started coaching people was how to price properly in your business. And it was because I had to grasp the fact that people were coming from making so much an hour, and that when they heard, shout out to Mr. Sneed at ABC, when Mr. Sneed would say, $85 an hour, and then you charge X, Y, and Z. That was the basic blueprint. That's the blueprint. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I'm explaining them that if you're supplying parts and the proper markup and things of that nature, people didn't understand, because they thought if they was, they came from a job making $15, $20, $30 an hour, they thought they was winning, and they never accounted for the cost of doing business. They never accounted for shipping. They never accounted for the work and the labor it takes to locate the parts, the vendor relationship. All that has to be compensated for. And it was the hardest thing for me to get people to understand that you have to be compensated for your value, as far as your technical training, as far as your gas, as far as your travel, as far as your equipment. All that has to be paid for. And so it was so hard for me to get people to understand this is a business. In a business, you have to charge for your services. And the hardest thing for me to get people to understand also is that stop charging from your pocket. You deal with like me, I deal with a certain clientele. So I'm not moving. If it's not like a certain amount, I'm not moving. And in my brain, I already got the invoice in my head, because I've done so much triage and pre-game that I pretty much know what it's going to need. I got the parts with me. I'm going to go and execute and collect, and I'm done. That's exactly how I move. That's all I know. And so I didn't understand when I was dealing with people and coaching people how they didn't think like that. Like, this is your money. You bust your butt. You better get paid. What's the problem? And so now, people come to me begging and crying, because when I was telling them to get the bag right and to charge accordingly, they thought I was gouging people. And now that their businesses are going under and they're struggling because they didn't charge enough, they can't maintain and do what they got to do, they looking crazy. But at the end of the day, it's a mindset. I can't fix the fact that you don't know your value. I can't fix the fact that you don't know your worth, that you choose to move a certain way. Why does the police have his lights on, dude? I'm like trying to stay within the speed limit. You can take your butt around, bro. I got new tags and everything. Don't try me and insurance. Y'all know how it is. All right, Walton County, do your job. I am not hating. Y'all know I live in them places where they shoot first, ask question later. And I ain't talking about the police. I'm talking about the homeowners and the residents. They tell us to come down to the police department and get training. Like Okaloosa County, he was like, and Santa Rosa County Sheriff was like, look, somebody shot somebody that was trying to invade their house. Hey, come on down here and get some training so you can be a better shot and save us some tax dollars. I'm with it. Say what you want to say. This is America. If it ain't yours, don't touch it. But anyway, y'all made me go off on a tangent. So it was very hard for me to understand that. So then over time I understood. And so that's why I got so clear about the people I would coach, because I don't want to spend 6 months trying to get you to change, to raise your price $10. Like, this ain't a conversation. I will show you the proof. I will show you your competitors, and I'll show you where your niches are. That's what we do. And then we want you to focus, and we want you to be trained, and we want you to have the tools to exploit that niche and make your money. And stay under the radar while you do it. See, that's the difference. See, I'm one of them people, I'm under the radar I know it may not seem like it, but y'all have no idea. People come to me all the time for the government contract game. I've been on this. If you look at my videos back in 2019, 2020, I was talking about government contracts, military contracts, all that stuff back then. And now everybody want to get on it. And so you can imagine, if I was ahead back then, you can't even, I don't even talk about where I'm at now, because there's nothing to discuss. I learned a long time ago, what's for you is for you. And I want you to win. That's why when I'm telling you to get your skill sets, I watch people trying to slide over into commercial. Nothing wrong with being commercial, but have a strategy. In all my videos, I preach about one thing. I preach strategy, 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 and more strategy. Because there's nothing cute about failure. unnecessary failure because you're not prepared. And the thing about it is, I think the thing that really most people don't understand is when you go into an industry that you don't know, you are going to have some difficult times. If people lie and tell you it's easy, it ain't easy. I'm not going to lie to you like that. Because if you really going hard, you going to stub your toe. You going to look at your bank account and say, what happened? I just made all this money. It just went all the way out. Because appliance repair done the right way is not a cheap business. People sit here and let you know you can get a bag of tools and be good. They lying. You need a voltmeter to do it right. You need real tools. If you're doing seal systems, you're going to need tanks. You're going to need torches. You're going to need a manifold. I have 4 of them. Because I'm one of them people, I'm not about to get stuck out here. And when I go do compressors, like I had an issue the other day, I normally keep 2 of these LG compressors. I had 1. Something went wrong with the one. Do y'all know how hot I was when I had to drive an hour and a half in the middle of holiday traffic in Orlando, Disney traffic, during the holidays to get in a park and then drive an hour and a half, 2 hours back in that same traffic? I was not happy when I know better. So at the end of the day, like I said, you better get it how you live. Training is everything. And failure and having issues and hitting brick walls is part of the game. I don't know who else told you. And I don't know. And that's part of another problem. Y'all don't understand. It's supposed to be that way. Because that's how you get good. That's how you work your muscles out. That's how you become ruthless and relentless. Like me. Man, please, let me tell you. So I was talking to Richard Zilker, one of my earlier mentors that on the technical side. And he was like, everybody would say everything about Miss Ward, but tell you one thing about Miss Ward, we knew she was going to get this because she was so stubborn, bullheaded, and would never give up. I would be angry. I would be angry about not getting the concept. And I knew that I wasn't getting it because it was me. It wasn't them. It wasn't how I was being taught. It was a mental block because it didn't make sense. And I drilled and drilled until it makes sense. I hit walls and walls until it made sense. And see, that's the difference. A lot of y'all out here playing, man. This thing is not a joke. It's not a joke. But with that said, y'all, I done talked y'all head off. I hope you got something out of it. I'm about to get in that head space I got to be in to make this bag. But remember, we about winning, y'all, at all times. Be blessed, like, share, and subscribe. Miss Ward is signing off.